Good evening. This is the May 13th meeting of the Lowell Conservation Commission. I'd like to start off with an item of new business. It's a request for a determination of applicability by Keolis Commuter Services. I've been told that they're not here yet, and we know that they're participating in some other meetings tonight, so hopefully they show up during our meeting, but in the meantime, I'd like a motion to continue.
I'll make a motion to continue on to the next item on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next up, a request for a determination of applicability by the City of Lowell for 1650 Middlesex Street, Hadley Park. An RDA has been filed by the City of Lowell to install 6 new LED athletic light poles and associated electrical conduits and wiring. The work is located in the 100-year floodplain and within 100 feet of a bordering vegetated wetland. Good evening.
Use the mic. Okay.
You won't hear yourself. There's no
Okay.
speakers here, but it is recording.
Okay.
Thank
Sounds
you.
good. Well, thank you for having me. Colleen Fowler with Gale Associates. Sarah Brown's here on behalf of the city. So as you know, we're looking to install 6 new athletic LED light poles at Hadley Park. The baseball field currently does not have any lighting. We're, I want to say 800 or 900 feet away from the Merrimack River, but there is that Black Brook underground stream. So we did the borings for the athletic light poles, along with the locating where the 6 light poles are, and they are going to be away from that brook. So we did not run into any issues when the geotechnical engineer was out there. That being said, the project's fairly small, a quick construction. Less than 15,000 square feet of land disturbance. It's just trenching for some conduit for the light poles and installation of the 6 poles and fixtures. We'll use sedimentation barriers along the limit of work. All the work is within the existing field footprint, so already developed land. No changes to any grading or drainage patterns, anything like that. And then I just, on the back here, shows kind of the technology for the lights nowadays. So all the way to the left is what they used to be. On the right is, you can tell there's a lot less fill nowadays with the technology. So we don't have as many issues with neighbors or wetland disturbance, that type of stuff now. Any questions?
None from me. Anybody?
Do you know how far the poles, I said, you did say you mapped it out. What is the distance? What's the distance from the poles to the underneath water?
To the brook?
The brook, yes.
I don't have the
'Cause
exact
It goes
measurement.
underneath, and I was just curious what the
Yeah.
distance is.
It's,
And the risk of changing the integrity of it.
yeah, I don't have the exact distance, but I want to say maybe 20 to 30 feet away is the closest pole, and the rest of them are much further.
Okay. There was some engineer comments, and I was just wondering if you saw that. It says, are you going to be working with the wastewater to locate it? And I think somebody else mentioned, hold on one second, I apologize. Are you going to be working with the city regarding that? Did you see the comments?
I did not see those comments yet. I believe that Jess Wilson with the city confirmed we didn't need to go to any other boards for permitting. It was just this one. So we can double check and make sure there's, if there's anybody else that needs to comment or
Yes,
give
it was
any
just
approvals.
a brief comment, said just be cautious near the culvert.
Okay, I believe that was back when we did the geotechnical drilling.
Gotcha.
So when the engineer and the driller were on site, somebody from the city was there to make sure that they were aware of where it was. And our surveyor had kind of marked out what was based on record plans where it was.
Okay.
I can provide some further clarification if you'd like. So DPD staff consulted with the wastewater department prior to conducting the borings for this project. And the Black Brook itself is actually contained within a culvert underneath the park in that farther corner. And there are plans to take a look at that culvert and potentially reconstruct it in the future, but that is probably a 5-year or so project away. But what we're trying to ensure is that the work conducted for this project is far enough away from the location of that culvert to allow for that reconstruction to happen. And before we even move forward with putting out this out to bid, we will continue that communication with Aaron Fox in the wastewater department.
Can you confirm it's concrete culvert?
I actually don't know how it's constructed. That wasn't relayed to us when we had that conversation, but we do understand that it is older and that it is in need of repair and that that's currently being explored as part of their study of the Black Brook.
Just to confirm my understanding of the definition of culvert, this is a man-made structure that it's totally contained in.
Correct. That's my understanding, is that there is a man-made structure that forces the brook to not daylight until you get further out.
Because of this, I wasn't really considering it to be with, like, it doesn't have a buffer, a standard, 25-foot,
Yeah.
no disturb, no build that we would typically consider, because it is a totally man-made system.
See, that's right here, this distance is the culvert, it goes under the ground. Right center field, there's the drainage. It goes under the ground and it comes across the street. And it's definitely heavy on the flow.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there's no doubt there's tons of water going through it, but it's contained into
Yeah.
a structure.
Yeah, so it's this dashed line is what the surveyor picked up from record plans,
Okay.
and then the next plan shows where the closest light pole is.
I just didn't know what was in the front.
So our closest pole is here versus the end of the brook is over here. Probably more than 30 feet away.
Yeah, I mean, I have no issues with the project as it is, so I'm gonna make a motion to grant this a -3 determination.
I'll second.
Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
It's gonna look nice.
Next up, we have an emergency certificate from the City of Lowell, location 45 Wellworth Street. Lowell Conservation Commission will vote to ratify an emergency certification issued to the City of Lowell Department of Public Works to breach an existing beaver dam to allow water to flow and abate a flooding emergency. The permit does not allow for whole dam removal. Good evening.
Good evening. Thanks for having me tonight. It does seem the vendor that we've used for several years, Wachusett Wildlife, has come in and they were able to relieve the issue that we're having with the dam. They've breached it, and we had some rebuilding issues that have gone on there, but they've had some successful attempts at this point where we're able to bring the water level down, so it's reasonable to the residents around now.
Are there any questions?
I'll make a motion to ratify the emergency certificate, sorry.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks very much.
Thanks for coming.
Have a good night.
You as well. Any sign of anybody over there?
No, unfortunately.
Okay, in that case, our next meeting is Wednesday, May 28th.
I'll make a motion to carry that to the next meeting on the 28th.
Second motion.
Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And last up is our approval of the April 23rd meeting minutes. Any comments?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve,
I'll second.
seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
Any comments from Fran?
Sorry, Fran.
Motion to continue
did.
those thoughts to your next meeting?
I did have, I might as well share this. I thought it was kind of interesting. So, this is extremely in the weeds, and I was kind of joking with Dylan, like, it's funny that this is some kind of breakthrough, but there is a project where it would be resurfacing the Aiken Street Bridge. It's a city project. And we weren't sure what permitting it needed to go through. So I asked Alicia Gellin from Mass DEP to kind of gauge what she thought in terms of whether it would be an exempt activity, which you guys get notifications periodically about exempt work, or whether they need to apply for an RDA or an NOI. It is probably going to come in as an RDA, but what I think is interesting, and just like for your information, is that maintenance projects that are in the buffer zone or in the riverfront area are exempt. Maintenance, utilities type activities where you're not enlarging anything or changing anything, you're replacing in kind, are exempt when it's buffer or riverfront, but not for any other resource area. So because this work is happening, even though it's on a bridge, it's technically bordering land subject to flooding. It is not exempt. So very technical, but I just wanted to point out that the maintenance exempt notifications that you'll see, you'll notice that they're all either buffer zone or riverfront, but when it's actually in a resource area, there are no exemptions. So when there's work that happens in bordering land subject to flooding, so in the 100-year floodplain, they don't qualify for that exemption.
So almost anything along the river is in the floodplain.
Right. Yeah, in the riverfront area. Although I guess technically there are areas that are high elevation next to the river that are within the riverfront area, but not flood zone. So really technical kind of pointer, but I learned that today and I thought I would just share it with you. So yeah. 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 I'm trying to think. Anything else? We are building out a portal on the city website using a tool similar to what they use for the budget to do data visualizations related to the budget. It's a tool called ClearGov. It's like the leading public sector technology that is used for budgets, and we're building out a similar data visualization tool for Lowell Forward. So you may or may not have read Lowell Forward. It's not directly tied to your role in the Conservation Commission, but certainly a variety of environmental related kind of goals that we have laid out for the city will be included on this tool, and you'll be able to see how we're kind of progressing over time in terms of meeting the goals that were set forth in Lowell Forward. So we have an intern on board this summer helping us build out that website. It's a large amount of data, so I hope that we can start to kind of roll out a few different graphs by the end of the summer, but I think we're moving in the right direction as a city, providing that type of data to residents and having more transparency about kind of the work that we're doing, the progress that we're seeing as a city. So hopefully by the end of the summer we can share that with you.
That's great.
Yeah.
I think that combined with, what seems to be an increased response rate in the 311,
100%.
that the outreach to the city is huge, and getting some faith in the
100%.
city's communication will be very beneficial for everybody
Right.
involved.
And it's great because all of this work has been happening the whole time. As someone who's worked here like for over 5 years now, almost 6 years, we've of course been working hard doing all of this work, but to be able to have more transparency and to be able to share the work that's happening is really a win-win for both city staff and for residents. So it's exciting. That's it.
Thank you very much, Fran. I won't cut you off this time.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Good night.